Good morning. My name is Megan Edwards of Focus Communications, and today we're getting the latest updates from DevvStream, which trades on the NEO exchange under the symbol DESG. And joining me again is DevvStream CEO Sunny Trinh. Sunny, welcome back to the show. Now, to start things off, could you provide an introduction to the company?
DevvStream is a technology-based ESG company created to advance the development and monetization of environmental assets with an initial focus on carbon credits. So while most carbon credit companies focus almost entirely on nature-based solutions, DevvStream specializes in taking a wide range of technologies and using them to generate carbon credits. And this is extremely important in our fight against global warming. Since nature-based solutions alone won't be nearly enough, it's still very important, but it's not going to be enough for us to reach our goals. Recent studies done by American University, for example, shows that nature-based solutions will contribute only maybe 20% to the carbon reductions necessary. So our plan at DevvStream is to hit the other 80% and really drive things forward.
Now, today I'd like to discuss some of the news release we've recently seen from the company, starting with your TS-Nano update, which for those new to this partnership was a deal the company entered into last year. Now, firstly, could you run us through who the TS-Nano is, details on their technology, and how DevvStream fit into this agreement?
Yeah, so TS-Nano, they're an amazing technology company. So they've developed a nanopolymer sealant that is more effective at plugging oil and gas wells than the current cement solution. It can even be used with cement to fill in microcracks and significantly improve the durability of the plug. And so, and by plugging oil wells, well, we essentially prevent greenhouse gases such as methane from escaping into the environment. And that's what we do with TS-Nano. This is really important because methane is much more potent. It's roughly 80 times more potent than carbon dioxide towards global warming over the first 20 years after being released into the atmosphere. So by plugging these wells, we prevent that from happening. And on top of it, we receive carbon credits. In fact, for every ton of methane we prevent from being released into the atmosphere, we get 32 credits due to its potency.
Wow. Now, it's a lucrative business with millions of decommissioned wells in North America. Any idea on the amount of carbon credits this could generate for the company?
Well, yeah, that's a tough question, Megan. But yeah, you're correct. I mean, there are a lot of decommissioned wells there. So there's roughly 3 million abandoned and orphaned oil wells in the U.S. alone, and an additional 370,000 in Canada. So yeah, it's a pretty big market. As for the amount of carbon credits this can generate for the company, well, it all really depends on how many wells we want to invest in to plug. And you can see, I mean, there's plenty we can invest in. So our initial estimates are if we plug 150 abandoned and 150 orphaned wells, and really select the ones that have the highest emissions, this can generate over 300,000 credits per year.
Wow. Now, fast forward to last month, where DevvStream announced developments in this methane abatement offset program with TS-Nano. Can you discuss some of the latest advancements and what we can expect as next steps with TS-Nano?
Yeah. So first of all, TS-Nano, they've been working really hard. They're working with a global company on some pilot wells, and they've successfully plugged 7 of the most challenging wells that this company had. So they didn't just give just any wells. They gave the most challenging, the toughest ones. I think one well even, they couldn't even identify where the bottom of the well was. It's kind of interesting. And then with regards to the carbon credit side, so we're waiting final approval from American Carbon Registry. We're waiting on the methodology to go through peer review. And this would be the one used to generate carbon credits from plugging wells. So we've been told that it should be done shortly. But in the meantime, we started what's called the PDD, or Project Design Doc, which essentially is the first step in the carbon credit generation process. It's very lengthy, but we started so that way, when the methodology is finally approved, we can submit it and get going right away.
Now, earlier this week, the company introduced a management agreement with AgriLedger. Can you walk us through who AgriLedger is and the opportunity presented for DevvStream in this agreement?
Yeah, so AgriLedger, they're a company that helps organizations and communities develop strategies and plans for decarbonization, emissions reductions, and also improving their ESG impact. So they do a lot of consultative services across various industries. So where we come in is to add carbon credits into their plans. We would help their clients generate credits and or provide them with credits to help them meet their net zero goals, and do it in a way that really fits with what AgriLedger is trying to help these company and organizations move forward with.
And will there be any capital investment from DevvStream in this agreement, or is DevvStream solely acting as the carbon credit manager for AgriLedger?
So this would depend on the end client and the type of project that we're working on together. So if a project requires upfront capital or CapEx, we may provide investment into that project if the returns meet our minimum threshold. And in other cases, and I think more so than the first, in other cases where the project doesn't necessarily need the upfront capital, it's already funded, but they can use a stream of revenue to help with their OpEx. We would help generate and manage the carbon credits and provide recurring revenue that way.
Mm-hmm. And with AgriLedger's global reach and access to World Bank funded green projects, should we expect to see DevvStream focus more on agricultural based carbon credit projects in the future?
Yeah, so agriculture is one of several verticals that AgriLedger is working in. And it is a very important vertical since we're talking about something that, well, every single person in the world needs, right? Food. Mm-hmm. So again, that also makes it a very large vertical. So to answer your question, Megan, is yes, we will start focusing on carbon credits generated from agriculture. However, we will be putting a technology spin to this, right? We'll be soon making another announcement on a partnership we just signed that has a very interesting technology around regenerative farming. And since we have access to millions of acres of farmland through our corporate partners, this could be incredibly impactful and also generate quite a few carbon credits at the same time.
Okay. Very exciting times for the company. Sunny, before we let you go, are there any final comments you'd like to leave with our audience?
Yeah, sure. Gosh, we have a lot of exciting new projects coming down the road with some incredible new technologies. So really just keep an eye out for us. I think the next few months will be really interesting for us and for the market as well.
All right. I'm very excited to hear more in the future. Thank you so much for coming on today, Sunny. And we look forward to having you back on soon to share additional updates on DevvStream.
Great. Thank you, Megan. Great seeing you again.